Here in the Storm Tracker 12 Weather Lab at WBOY, I'm meteorologist Jason Parrish. Hi, 6th period. And here we are. I've got your list of questions right here, and I will try my very best to answer a few of those. And by the way, you mind Jonas Knots. All right, so here's your first question submitted to me, and we will begin with Savannah's question. How about this? What is the difference between a cyclone and a hurricane? Well, there's not a lot of difference characteristically between a cyclone and a hurricane. They're both very strong storms that form in the ocean. Really, it just depends on your location. In the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific, we do call them hurricanes, or these storms. But as you head into the Southern Hemisphere, a lot of times we call them cyclones. And then in the Western Pacific, we actually call them typhoons. And I know Brooke had a question about that. Brooke asked, what's the difference between hurricanes and typhoons? And so that's really the big difference between hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones. It's really the location or where you are in the world. And that means whether you'll get a hurricane or a typhoon or a cyclone. Brooke also asked, how do they form, or what causes them? And what happens is you just get the right conditions over the ocean. You have to have very warm water. You have to have a little weather disturbance that is small but has the good environment for it to grow. You have to have a lot of air evacuating from the top of the storm. That helps it grow. You have to have a lot of light winds. So all those things combine to help us form hurricanes or typhoons or cyclones. Okay. Let's answer Dylan's question. Dylan asked here in 6th period, what causes the wind to blow? And it's actually all about movement from different pressure systems. Air flows in the atmosphere from high to low pressure. And what happens is, say you have a high pressure system over the plains, and you have low pressure, say, situated in the northeast. Well, that air will flow from one pressure system to another. And when that air is moving, that's when you get the wind. So that's an answer for you as far as what causes the wind to blow. Okay, another question here. Savannah asked, how do scientists figure out the weather, and how do you become a weather scientist? Well, there are many different things that we look at to help predict the weather. One of them is right here. This is called a computer model, and you can see it's kind of hard to look at, but this is just one of the things we look at to help predict the weather. These are generated by computers. We also look at radar data, satellite data, surface observations. Many different things come together to help us put together a forecast. Now, Savannah also asked, how do you become a weather scientist? And you have to go to school. Most meteorology degrees are a 4-year degree from a college or university. West Virginia at this time does not have a meteorology program, but you can go out to Penn State in Pennsylvania. You also could go to Ohio State, or also you can go down south, Florida State, Oklahoma. All those schools are very good when it comes to meteorology. Addison asks, how could a blizzard ever hit a warmer area? Yes, they have in the past. In fact, we had a huge storm back in the mid to late 90s, as it was called the superstorm, and it dumped a lot of snow over parts of the southeast that usually don't get snow, and that includes around Atlanta. And they had actually a lot of heavy snow. They didn't have the means to help fight that snow, and basically the city was shut down for many, many days. Colton asks, what kind of extreme storm causes the most damage? And flooding. Flooding usually causes the most amount of damage as far as loss of property and life. So flooding does a lot of damage. And that's about it. That's all the time I have for questions right now. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of them, but they were all really good questions. And I hope you learned a lot from this. And we'll send it back over to Jonas. Here you go.